Oh, there you go, bloke. Oh, it's black there, but it's right there. Right. So, I recorded an introduction last night when I was tired, but I've so it is now the day after the running day. I videoed an introduction and an outroduction yesterday to go with this video, but I've had a day of reflection now, so I'm going to bin what I did yesterday and I'm going to start afresh. So I'm going to go all the way back to the very beginning. Now, this locomotive was built by Bassett-Lowke back in about 1910, and I'm going to put some pictures up somewhere. There is quite a few historical photos of it now that I've got to the end of the project, and John's son David has sent me a lovely. Basically, it's a book that has been constructed as a memory of this locomotive. So yeah, the original owner of this locomotive was a chap called Guy Mitchell. He, for want of a better word, was eccentric, and he'd inherited his wealth. Unfortunately, he had a congenital heart defect, and he passed at about 35-year-old, I believe. The history and ownership of the locomotive after Guy Mitchell's death is very vague and sparse. However, at the end of the 90s, Ken Wood, who's still a very good friend of John Forrest, met a fellow engineering enthusiast, Mick McGee, at an exhibition in Crewe. Mick was exhibiting the Precursor and told Ken he was thinking of selling it. Ken introduced John to Mick, and shortly after, a purchase was made of the locomotive. So Mick McKee was from Walsall, and it was understood that after he bought the model, it was steamed at Little Hay, Sutton Coldfield, back in the early 90s, but spent a lot of time after that in bits before being put together for the exhibition. Another name involved in Precursors history may have been Colin Cartwright, who owns the Betsy Coyd Museum now and the Conwy Valley Railway Museum, and used to own Walsall Arboretum Railway, and may have owned the Precursor before Mick. So John acquired this back at the end of the 90s, early noughties, so 2000. So this engine has been in John's ownership for 25 years now, and it's been a journey for John. I do believe in that time he has spent most of that restoring this locomotive with help from Ken Wood, and Ken is the gentleman that has done most of the paint work on the locomotive. So he'd done all the painting of the bodywork, the lining, the transfers, and that part of the build wasn't me. We have done some of the paintwork. We tackled the smoke box, we tackled the running boards. All the horizontal surfaces were given a coat of satin black, and the smoke box was painted in high temperature black. But the rest of the paintwork is as Ken did. So earlier this year, the Steam Workshop was asked to help finish this locomotive, as John is too frail to do it nowadays, and it was imperative that this engine was finished prior to so John could see it in his lifetime, and that was my remit. So the beginning of this project, the locomotive was on a pallet. I didn't know what the locomotive looked like at that time, so I just used some historical photographs to try and figure things out. And it's a giant jigsaw puzzle, and I love jigsaw puzzles. So from that jigsaw puzzle, I then started piecing things together. I laid everything out. I had it all on a shelf. I assembled the tender. I got the chassis running on air. I had to do a lot of work to the boiler to get the boiler to seal. because mechanically jointed copper boilers, they leak. It's part of their life. We've actually got another Bassett-Lowke locomotive in the workshop at the moment, which has had unfortunately a leaky boiler, because again, mechanically jointed copper boiler, they love to leak, so it's all about the corking. So got it running on air, got it running through its own boiler on air, got the boiler through its hydraulic test, got the engine built up, and carried out a couple of steam tests at the steam workshop. So the first steam test was last Thursday. Was it last Wednesday? Last Wednesday. So it did its first steam test last Wednesday. First time it had seen a fire in 25 years, and it wasn't perfect, but we got it running. We got the wheels going. We got one of the injectors working. The safety valve unfortunately wasn't quite good enough, and one of the injectors was playing silly buggers. But on the second steam test, which actually got carried out on Tuesday, everything worked a treat. Fast forward now to Wednesday, which was the day of the track test, and myself and Mark, another Mark at the workshop, we've got a few that play. We went down to Airwash Model Engineers just outside Derby, and we ran the train. Sorry, ran the locomotive. We steamed up. We got it on track. What you're about to see is the result of that. I'm going to leave this completely raw. There is a lot of background noise. There's a very busy road, about 100 feet away from the railway. It's on the edge of the A52. It's a busy dual carriageway going into Derby. There's also quite a large compressor in next to their steaming bay, which is rather noisy. At one point, I think one of the guys was cutting the grass as well, so there's that noise in the background. But I'm going to leave it all as raw footage. I'm just going to cut out the bits which actually haven't got any locomotive in it. And yeah, I'll roll the clips, and I'll catch you afterwards. Enjoy the video.
I was probably one of the last people to stand on the foot blade when it got proper engine. Yeah. When it came into scrapping. New York Central 484. It's massive. Look at that. No.
Yeah, something's amiss.
And it definitely drags through the point, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Down here. As soon as I got on the level, yeah, it was just, I couldn't control the speed coming down there. I was ready with my feet. It came alive again.
You can hear it, can't you? Suddenly.
There's no end flow on the driven wheels.
Right,
They're basically butted against the frames.
right.
So if you get any side load on that, it's going to push it against the frame, which is going to cause friction.
Yeah. Can you not cure that?
Like the corners,
Right.
you can hear the wheels squealing. There's no end flow on the driven axles. So I think they're just pushing against the frame, which is slowing everything down.
Yeah, yeah.
And you can really hear it in the tender because
Yeah.
the tender historically has had the middle wheels taken out.
Now, yeah. I saw that.
So I think that would free that tender up no end, but it just really needs end float and everything. It's starting to come alive, which
Yeah, it's bedding in, isn't it?
That's the track we've got it here.
when I came down that back end off the top, it just watched go.
Scary, was it?
What do you reckon, John?
What?
All good?
Could I have a go?
If you can get on it.
Yeah, it's right.
And we've got David trying to hook up a
Yeah, it's got
coupling for you.
It's got a chain. Sounding better, isn't it? Yeah, it's
You put Jenny back on.
Well, he hasn't stopped.
doesn't been run. No, that's right. Doesn't been run for a while, is it?
We'll see. Yeah, they want to start finish straight. Because he's a little bit tight and he's not quite. Don't push the brake. I've got another one. Yes. As long as I'm not done this like that. No, it's a bit too much, isn't it? You can sit back a little bit. Sit back. And I'll bring your bum back and I'll bring your feet back a little bit. And a bit. There you go. There you go. Ready, Mark?
Oh, it's away. You all right then? Yeah. Right, okay. You all right?
I thought my knees were falling off.
Now, this is the bit where the day gets truly special. We did one go round on the track, and David gave me the go-ahead to get John in the driver's seat. Now, this is probably the moment John has been waiting for well, it's definitely a moment he's been waiting for 25 years. He's bless him, he is not very flexible. It took some lifting to get him onto the driver's seat and get his feet on the foot pegs. And he cannot quite see where the regulator is. So I'm having to coach him to get his hand onto the regulator. I've got Mark on the brake truck behind him. I was a little bit skeptical about doing this because I am letting a frail old man run this locomotive. But at the end of the day, it's his. It's his toy. He's waited a long time for this. So yeah, I'm going to put him in the driver's seat and give him every opportunity to drive this locomotive. And just trying to find the regulator, he can't quite see it from where he's sat. He's in a really hunched position here, and it is very difficult for him to see it. But we are going to do our damnedest and get this train moving, all with John and in the driver's seat with the regulator in his hand. Now, as I said, Mark is on the driving truck behind him, and he will be able to apply the brakes, and I am very, very close, so I can jump in assist. We are fully confident that we can stop this train. The locomotive, it hasn't got the most amount of power, so we do believe that this is probably the safest way of doing it. So once we get him used to where the regulator is, we unleash him, and off he goes.
Give it some beans. We'll have to go more regulator. So you're going to need probably go all full regulator on it. So you need to open the regulator just a little bit more, John. That's it. A bit more. Now you're going up. Up. Okay. Where did that come from? Oh, kicked up while we were walking past. Right, you're going to have to give it all the beans now, John. It needs everything to get up this hill. There we go. You're on the brake mark. Regulator's closed off. Better get tight again. Oh, he's off for another lap. Hey, you won't get him off now.
Sorry to say something.
Pushing. So you're probably going to have to give it all the regulator on this corner here, John.
I have it.
There you go, that's it. It's going to detach the back. Right. So go backwards with you.
And then we got your vertical. You got your legs? Yeah. Right.
Thank you all for that. That was an experience.
Well done.
Look at this thumb.
You get a souvenir. I got one as well today, so we're in the same club.
Same place, probably.
Yeah, same club.
See you around. What?
Yeah, man.
Sit round there. Put this in the drink or stick it in your hand. No, it's not. Oh, I'll put it in my bag.
Hear it, can't you?
With your carriage, oh, yeah. Wait. Going on there.
Move the lens. Oh, I'm going to have to get low down for this now. So this picture here, this is the Precursor sat with an original Bassett-Lowke carriage. Simon has a couple of these. This is the only one that's on its wheels, and at some point in the future, these will get restored back to their original condition. But yeah, opportunity to get the engine and a riding truck, carriage married up. We have to take the opportunity. So that kind of brought the days running to an end. We're just now going to be putting this locomotive to bed, so we're getting it back up onto the steaming bay so we can drop the fire, get the pressure down, and blow the engine down. Because this engine is, although it's not perfect, it is still going home with John, and it's going into his living room, and his son has made a lovely plinth for it to live on, and there's a picture here. Now, this was not an easy engine to move indoors. The locomotive itself is very, very heavy, and myself and young Mark had to manhandle this through the doorway. But we got there, and John has the pleasure of looking at this engine every single day and polishing away to his heart's content.
Well, what an adventure that has been. Today didn't quite go as planned, or did it? The plan was to load this engine up in the van, go down to Aerowash Model Engineering Society, fire it up and run it around the track. Did that. John got to see his locomotive complete after sitting looking at pieces for 25 years. That's another job off the list. So not only did he get to see his engine in one piece, he got to see his engine run around the track. Was it perfect? No. But in a way it was perfect. I think had this engine been a handful to drive, I don't think I would have ever put John on the driving seat, because I knew full throttle was not that fast on this engine, so I knew he was going to be safe on it. It boiled down really to his flexibility, what he was capable of. And after one lap of the track, and he was like, "It might go." I was like, "Yeah, let's get him on the driver's seat. Let's get him in control of his regulator, going around this track on his own locomotive." And I was nearly crying running around after that train. I was having to give it a push every now and again because as it was tight in all the corners. I had my doubts at this locomotive's ability to run around the track freely, and it didn't run freely. I think it needs more inflow. In the past, they've run it without the centre set of wheels in the tender, and I think that has a big contributing factor. That there's no real, you can't really turn the locomotive. There's a lot of coupled wheels going on, and everything's pinned in by the frames, so it hasn't got a lot of flexibility. So going around the track, it wasn't brilliant, and I was a little bit disheartened by that, and I felt that I failed through a lot of that. But at the end of the day, I think it was a success, because we got the engine to the railway, we steamed the engine. The engine performed in steam capacity beautifully. We went through maybe 3 or 4 kilos of coal, which was not a lot of coal at all. It's got a massive firebox on this, and I thought, are we taking enough coal with us? We brought nearly all our coal back. It didn't use a lot, so the running of the engine was fantastic. The wheels going around of the engine wasn't so fantastic. We had steam leaks coming out of the glands. Unfortunately, didn't have time or the opportunity to nip those up. So there is work required there. The regulator needs work. Some of the bearings need a little bit of work because there is still a little bit of slop in the engine. But the idea was to get this engine back into one piece, get it complete, get it running, get it going around the track, and we achieved that. Myself and young Mark got home after 5 o'clock yesterday, so it wasn't a dreadful day for us getting out. And I got home and I looked at my phone, and yesterday morning my girlfriend Kim had sent me a message, and she's also written a poem song. To the idea was to help me through the day, and I think it's helped me understand the end of the day better than it could have helped me understand the start of the day. And the song is called "Leave the Ego in the Van," and the more I think about it, the more my ego is playing on that, and it's like I feel like I failed, but I haven't failed. I want to achieve more, but what I've achieved is I've achieved, and I've not chucked a load of technological stuff at it. I've not said, "Oh, I've done this, I've done that." It's been a massive team effort, this. I'm just going to read through this song. It comes in a chorus and verse, but I'm just going to read the chorus through, and then I'll read all the verses through. And it goes a little bit like this: "Leave the ego in the van, go back to where it all began. Time to celebrate the lifelong journey of the man. Weave a memory for them, family gather while they can. Time to celebrate a life well lived, leave the ego in the van. From boy to man, where it all began, a childhood dream, what could it mean? To live a life fulfilled, enthusiast and highly skilled, at last to find the dream fulfilled. What once was lost, at last is found, a helpful friend with skill abound. What once was broken, now is whole again, so give them quiet time to enjoy, my friend. The complicated now can wait, catch up with them another day. Your knowledge now takes second seat, your skill is shown quite a feat. From rusty bits to train complete. They know you battled against time, how eagerly you raced the prime. They know you know your stuff, today is not the day to speak. today is for the frail and weak. To see them dream, remembering it their own way, and that, my friend, is enough. That's beautiful. Thank you very much, Kim. We may well turn that into a song. Kim's going to have a play around with it, put some notes to it, see how it feels as a song, or it might just stay as a poem. But yeah, that's truly special. Thank you very much, Kim. It was a nice end to the day. After we ran at the track, we took it back to John's house. We put it in John's living room, and John was absolutely pooped. He really did work hard yesterday, and I've had a few messages from Dave today, the son. He said he was in quite a bit of pain this morning. It was a real hard day for him, but to see the smile on his face was beautiful. To see him driving his locomotive for the first time in 25 years was beautiful. It was a real conclusion. This series has been a pleasure to make. The comments I've received on the videos, the words of support, absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much. I can't ask for a better audience. I can ask for a bigger audience, so feel free to share. But yeah, it's been a really personal attachment to this project. I've come into this at the beginning, and we've had a goal to hit, because time was of the essence. We want to get this done as soon as possible, really. As I said earlier, Dave is putting together a book. So at some point in the not too distant future, I will be heading over to John's again to go and see the family, see the book, and hopefully see John while he's a little bit less tired and a little bit less in pain. But yeah, it's not the end of the story with John and the Precursor. At some point in the future, the Precursor will come back to us, and no doubt I'll make some more videos on it. But for now, the rebuild of the Precursor, it is a done project, and I am moving on to the next project. I've already started it. I haven't started videoing it yet. Got a little bit of legwork to do before I start videoing it. But yeah, next video's coming. Don't know when that's going to be coming out, but it will be soon. But as always, you've been a fantastic audience. Thank you very much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.